It's sports overtime from outside McBrayer Arena. The quarterfinal round is done, and so are the Mountain teams, unfortunately. Earlier today, Jackson County taking on Lexington Catholic with a spot in the semifinals on the line.
Well, it was the third time this year that they had played one another. Lexington Catholic lost to Jackson County the first time, then Catholic beat Jackson County at their home court in overtime. So you figure when you get to the state tournament, the 10 points that they won by kind of neutralizes on a neutral site. And of course, anything can happen when you get to the state tournament.
And let's see how the game unfolded. Let's take a look at the highlights. Jackson County and Lexington Catholic meeting in the rubber match, the third meeting this season. Jackson County's Shea Gabbard getting the Lady Generals charging early on with a three-pointer from the corner. Jackson County up 17-8 after the first quarter. Meanwhile, Lexington Catholic getting the ball into the paint. Chelsea Chowning with the turnaround 12-footer. She had 11 points in the first half. More outside mortar shots from the Lady Generals. Andy Whitehead connects from behind the arc. But in the second quarter, Lexington Catholic uses a 15-2 run to close out the half. Katie Mendenhall gives Lex Cath a 26-22 halftime lead. Lexington Catholic keeps the heat on in the third quarter. Kristen Robertson hits a three-pointer, and the run has reached 22-2 Lexington Catholic. It's 33-22 lead for the Lady Knights when Candace Rose hits a bomb. She had just 5 points. Jackson County beginning their own run. And how about some defense from 6'4" Sarah Elliott? Big E with 3 blocks in the game to go along with 7 points and 6 rebounds. Lexington Catholic would go 7 minutes and 53 seconds without a basket before Lindsay Mazzetti scores for 2 of her 4 points. Jackson County uses a 20-2 run, capped off by another Whitehead three-pointer. It's 47-40 Jackson County, but Lexington Catholic will not go away. Mendenhall with a great running shot, and this ball game is tied at 47. The Knights use a 14-0 run to finish the game out, Chowning one last three-pointer, and Lexington Catholic advances to the semifinals by the final score of 54-47. So the Lady Knights, the defending champs, will take on Shelby County in tomorrow's first game of the semifinals. And Brian, hats off to the Lady Generals on an outstanding season.
Well, certainly, as any time you make the state tournament, it is an outstanding season. But this team never seemed to really hit a dry spell. Maybe one time after the All-A, they lost a couple of games in a row, but this team never wavered. At the beginning of the season, they looked like one of the strongest teams throughout the mountains, and they finish off the season being the strongest team in the mountains.
Shea Gabbard, the only senior starter that graduates. They have one other senior on the ball club. This is a team we may hear from more next year. They could be back down here in the All-A and the Sweet 16, but we talked about this all week. There's a lot of teams that could be coming back and making repeat performances. You look at a Shelby Valley possibly too.
Right, Shelby Valley, they don't lose, but maybe one player, Summer Jones and Ashley Dameron, they keep coming back, and Coach Bobby Spears was very high on them after they unfortunately lost to Shelby County 53-51. And when you look at Perry Central, they're a very young team too. They only lose one player in Crystal Smith. Christy Miller comes back, and she gets to have another shot at a state tournament. She had 30 points in her debut.
So Saturday night, a new girls championship will be crowned. Possibly Lexington Catholic can win back-to-back titles. But earlier today, some former champions were honored. The coaches, talk a little bit about that.
Well, the coaches at the boys' Sweet 16, the coaches came out, Bobby Keith and Dave Fraley and Bill Mike Runyon and the like. Well, the girls, the same thing happened. Donnie Gray and Larry Hurt and Randy Napier and Bill Fannin and a host of others. Of course, Roy Bowling's in there. And they always talked about the camaraderie that they had with one another, and it really showed throughout the ceremony as the coaches got awards and plaques, and after the ceremony they had a lot of complimentary things to say about one another.
To get to do this with this group of guys here, and you know, that really a lot of them laid the foundation for girls basketball. Coach Bowling had to be a big leader in that aspect, and oh, this is great.
Well, it's been 8 years since I quit Laurel County, 3 since I left Louisville Mercy. Kind of gives you a few chills, maybe want to kind of like get back in it, but I'll pass.
Well, you know, that's great, a great feeling to just go out there with all these great coaches, you know, in the past years, and just, you know, just kind of puts in perspective what a little bit of success you've had, you know, what great memories it is.
So Brian, at the girls' Sweet 16, all three Mountain teams end up ultimately losing to end the tournament. But they were all close ball games.
They were all close ball games. Shelby Valley loses an absolute heartbreaker in the opening game of the tournament. Perry Central, if they had had another 20 seconds, maybe they can pull off another miraculous last-minute comeback. And Jackson County, you can't take anything away from those girls. They played outstanding throughout this entire season, and especially in the state tournament, and they brought the most fans with them, too. That was something everybody talked about, just how great the Mountain fans are. And when the Mountain coaches were introduced, the Mountain coaches champions, they got the biggest ovation. Bill Fannin and Randy Napier and all those guys. So it just shows you the Mountain basketball is truly something special, and Mountain girls basketball really has taken off in the last 25 years with 9 champions coming from the WYMT coverage area.
As far as WYMT is concerned, the basketball season isn't officially over until next Friday night. We'll be handing out our own postseason awards, recognizing some of the best players from the 12th through the 15th regions. You want to be sure to tune into that next Friday night for a special year-end basketball edition of Sports Overtime. But that's all from here in Richmond. Now back to Sports Overtime.